Yeah. Welcome back to Blake's Craft Beer Podcast. My name is Blake Longfellow. I'm back here in sort of Columbus, Ohio. This is Lewis Center. Yes, I'm with this awesome guy. I met him at Branch and Bone. We've been friends on Instagram, but all of a sudden I just noticed he was there, and we just started talking, and we had a fun talk there. And I likely knew I wanted him on this show eventually here. So please introduce yourself and tell me your Instagram.
All right. My name is Keith Robinson. My Instagram is Kilted Beer Reviews _ between each word. I've been drinking craft beer. I actually talked about this earlier today. Since about 1986. So I've been from the early days of craft beer.
So what made you automatically want to hop in this industry, especially in '86 when it was still very young?
Right. Well, I was in college in Boston in 1986. In, let's say, the mid to late 80s. I'll just leave it at that. And Sam Adams was really big in the area. And I'll be honest, growing up in Cincinnati like I did, and the macro beers that were available at the time never really appealed to me very much. And I got to college, and a friend of mine introduced me to Sam Adams, and it was full flavored and really good. And I was like, oh my God, wait, is this what beer is supposed to taste like? And that's kind of the beginning of the end. Did a lot of brewery tours and everything back then. Tried to drink all the Sam and other similar beers that I could at the time. To the point where when I got married in 1991, the wedding present that my wife bought me was a home brew kit, so I could try to brew my own Sam Adams type beer. And one thing led to the other, and here I am today. I call myself a craft beer connoisseur, emphasis on sewer.
I call it a fun hobby.
It is.
It's definitely that. So I should probably say we are at Standerized Brewing. This is my first time ever being here, and as of what I've tasted so far, their beers are really good. So
and they've been here just over a year. Their 1 year was, I want to say Memorial Day weekend, sometime around then. So they've definitely got the buy-in of the community here. Lots of people. It's a great space.
Okay. How? Because you're basically in the Columbus area, how has Columbus been a very easy buy-in? You see when it comes to craft beer?
Absolutely, 100%. I moved to Columbus in 2008, and I think at the time there were 12 to 15 breweries. And if you look at the greater Columbus area, so you got everything inside 270, and then you go outside a little bit. We're mid 40s to mid 50s in different breweries that are around here. A lot of breweries have multiple locations. Some breweries that you might have heard of, like Hoof Hearted, are just outside that area. Wolf's Ridge, which to me is one of the better breweries in the area, they've got a huge presence here. Columbus Brewing Company, one of the OGs, they've been producing beer up here for decades and doing really, really well. And this is a very open and receptive community for craft beer.
Because how old is Columbus?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Mid 1800s probably.
So, no, I meant the brewery.
Oh, Columbus Brewing.
Sorry, wrong.
Sorry. Before I moved up here, so late 90s, early 2000s, probably sometime around then. I'd have to do research to actually find out better, but they've been around for a while. They've got a really, really cool space. I had been to their original production brewery and some of the others, and there's just a lot of phenomenal breweries up here. I don't think people really recognize. Cincinnati gets a lot of credit, and Cleveland, rightfully so.
Right.
But Columbus, we've got our own good breweries here too.
Yeah, when you say that, I also feel that about Dayton.
Oh,
because they're the lost child.
Yep.
You don't really hear from is one of the reasons why this podcast got launched originally.
Really?
But it's called My Value Craft Beer Podcast. When I didn't break off. We just went our separate ways on the other one.
Yeah.
So when I did it, I was like, hey, this could be Dayton focused, and even though I'm very still Dayton focused to this day, it just has grown outside of that area. So, which I think craft beer as a whole is just a big family. I was thinking about this today. It's the most different industry I've ever seen in my life, where they're so welcoming and they're willing to help each other. They're competitors. You don't see it.
That's exactly right. Just, back during the whole issue with COVID and can shortages and whatnot, everybody helped each other out. Completely collaborative, totally unexpected to me, where I'm used to the cutthroat world where, everybody's any chance they can get an advantage on their competitor, they take it. The brewery scene, they don't do that at all. And just a side note, I did go and look up the origin of Columbus Brewing Company, and they started in 1988.
So they were right there, because I know Great Lakes was 87 or 86.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I should know that because I just had them on. But I know they were the original when they get Ohio going. Then
yeah, I mean, they're kind of the grandfather in Ohio, if you think about it.
So, okay, so you moved. So you set off here. You lived in Cincinnati. How long did you live there?
I actually was born and grew up in Cincinnati until I was 18. Went to college in Boston. Got commissioned in the Navy and did my time there. Got out of the Navy. I lived in North Carolina for 16 years before moving back to Ohio in 2008.
So you were in a lot of good beer cities, weren't you?
I have been very fortunate that
Because what part of North Carolina were you?
I lived in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
And there's a few good there, but if you look down towards Charlotte or out towards Raleigh or even the other direction towards Asheville, I was in like the midpoint of really, really strong brewing areas.
Because I was just in Asheville. I went several years ago, but I went back, and I finally got to go to Burial. That was such a good place.
So they've recovered okay from everything?
As far as it seems like it has. I was kind of concerned at first, but we were going to Carowinds with a group of friends, and I was like, oh, we got to stop through here.
Yeah.
So we did, and it was good. So Burial still makes, which is great. The first time I've really been able to try them, because they don't outsource much. So.
Yeah.
So.
I've been very fortunate with where I've lived. Plus, I travel a lot for work, so I tend to visit a lot of breweries. I mean, when I have to travel someplace for work, that's the research I do, is what breweries do I want to go to? What are the best breweries in proximity to where I'm staying or where my office is that I'm going to visit, so that I can go and visit.
And I definitely, when you were saying craft beer connoisseurs, that's exactly what we do. It's not the hotels first. It's it's what breweries are around here. Where should I stay in the area where I can hit the most?
Yeah. So I can either walk there, or it's an affordable Uber ride back.
So, but when you so how did the Instagram? What made you start it?
All right, this is very interesting. There's a Mexican place up here that at the time had a deal that if you had 1,000 followers or more and you posted from their location a dinner, they would give you a free taco. So I did it literally, started doing it to get free tacos. And when it comes to Instagram, you got to kind of find your niche and who you are and something that sets you apart. And as you well know, having run into me out and about, my normal drinking uniform is a kilt. So thus, Kilted beer reviews came about. And so I started doing it. And by the time I hit 1,000 followers, they had stopped that deal. So I never was able to take advantage of getting a free taco. But that's okay, because I've gotten a lot of great followers and a lot of great feedback and really good friends that I've met simply by having that Instagram page and doing those beer reviews and meeting, going and visiting breweries and identifying and listening to the different beers they have and giving my opinions on them and whatnot.
So when you first started out, was it pretty easy? Did you have a path of where you wanted to go, or how has it evolved?
Honestly, being on the older side, as you can tell from when I went to college, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have a path. My first handful of posts were videos of me tasting beer at a couple of trips I was on. I think I was in Arizona, and I was lucky to get one or two little likes and comments on it. And slowly but surely, I learned a little bit more what was going on, and I picked up on it. And then, as I reached out and communicated to other people in the beer world on Instagram, started making connections, and it just kind of spread from there.
Yeah, I definitely can say that.
It kind of grows exponentially once you understand a little bit more how the system works.
Because that meant, and when I started the Brewery Explorer, it was more because we just got out of COVID, then early January of 2021, and I was like, I wanted to show my other people of my friends that were on the page at the time. There are other things you can try to help, and then it worked. But then once you start following different craft beer, like you said, that's when it kind of started taking off from there a little bit.
100%.
Once people realize what you're doing, and it's a great community on Instagram. It really is.
Instagram is a really great way to identify that, and it kind of goes beyond that. I've run into so many. Again, very fortunate that I get to travel for my job, so I've met several different people in different areas. It's like, hey, I'm coming to Phoenix, or I'm going to Indianapolis, or I'm going here. And people just decide, hey, okay, let's meet up at this brewery, and we hook up and we start hanging out and drinking beer and going to another place and another place, and it just grows, and it's solid, like super friendly, supportive group of people wherever they are.
Yeah. So when you travel from city to city, what are some of your favorite cities? When you say, hey, we're going to send you there, what cities do you look forward to?
I really enjoy going to Phoenix, like the greater Phoenix area. There's some great breweries out there. Obviously, I love going to Denver. That's kind of, Mecca, Denver,
Right.
Boulder, Fort Collins. Those are really good. Chicago has some really good breweries, depending on where you're going in Chicago. Indy, I was surprised with the number of really great breweries that they had there. And then, like Savannah. I was in Savannah last year for the first time, and they've got some great breweries down there. And, I was in Florida, so I went from Orlando to Tampa to Miami, and just hitting some of the breweries down there that they had. Pretty much I can find a really, really great brewery wherever I go.
Mm-hmm.
My family goes to Panama City Beach, Florida for vacation every summer, and Idle Hounds Brewing is now I have to go visit. It's like, honey, you take the kids to the beach. I'm going to go spend a couple hours at the brewery because the beer's great. The people there are really cool. It's a great spot.
Yeah, I haven't been, I've done pretty decent travel, but I definitely want to get out there more and stuff like that. So, what are some areas you really like to see that you haven't been to yet?
I would say kind of in the mid-90s, I was in Portland, Oregon area, and it was, they had a lot of great breweries out there. I bought my first growler of beer there, not knowing what the heck I was doing. I just took it back to my hotel room and drank it there. But I would love to go back to like Pacific Northwest and get into a little more of what they have to offer up there, because I'm sure it's just grown and expanded.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I've been fortunate enough to go to some really big breweries in like the Boston area, Treehouse and whatnot. But there's a lot more, I think, to offer up there that I would love to visit between Connecticut and New Hampshire and Vermont and Boston and that neck of the woods. The Finger Lakes in New York, there's some nice ones that are up there that I think would be fun to visit. So I don't need big, crazy areas, just unique areas.
Mm-hmm. So when you look at going to a brewery for the first time, what are some things you look for right away?
I look. I love them to have the ability to have a flight because when I go in, I want to try different things. And most places have them. You don't. A few of them will do half pours, and you can get as many as you want, which could potentially be a little dangerous. But I like them to have a flight because I like to get a feel across styles how they do with it. I love them to, if they've got food, I'm curious what it is to see. Is it just kind of snacky food, or if they put thought into, does it match and blend with the beers you're doing? Does like the food support the beer and the beer support the food? Comfort seating, patios for how welcoming they are to other, big and expansive, and are there different areas to sit where, like here, we're sitting inside, but there's a tremendous patio on the outside. It's a great event space. They also have little private rooms inside if you wanted to do that. So I'm interested in the allocation of space and how they take advantage of it. I think that's always interesting to me. And then, really, lastly, just the variety of styles. Do they just do IPAs, or do they just do lagers, or what it is? I like a variety of styles, and I want to taste a little bit of everything. Get kind of taste of the local community, but what the local community kind of influences what a brewery does, in my opinion, because you're only going to produce what you think the local community will buy. So you get a feel or a taste of the local community based on what the brewery offers.
So through your travels, when you go to a certain, can you instantly know what they're serving? Some areas that you're like, okay, I know.
I will do research based on what they've got on their website, on social media, to see what's currently on tap. I'm not a big fan of Belgians. I mean, Belgians are great and they're done really well. It's just something for my palate that I'm like, give or take. So if it's a brewery that focuses primarily on Belgians, probably not going to be on my list to go visit. Similarly with sours, the way when they first started becoming really popular, which was, can we make your teeth hurt with how sour they are? Probably not that. More fruited sours and gozas and things like that. So I look to see what they have, and that helps me decide if I'm going to add them to my itinerary to go visit.
I agree. Because I agree with that. Because I like seeing breweries have variety, and I know some areas will be heavier than others. When you travel, which there's some areas in the country that's heavier on stuff than what we are in Ohio.
Well, I mean, if you look at New England and the New England IPAs, a lot of breweries up there do those, but that doesn't mean those breweries don't offer other styles. So the hazy New England IPA might be what brings somebody in, but they've got great stouts or great lagers, pilsners that are really, really solid. Their brewing techniques are great no matter what they do. They just may not offer as many different varieties compared to the big hazy that brings people in the door. And the one thing I found is consistency across styles. If they do one style well, they will have a tendency to do the rest really well as well. So you want to give them the chance to, and try what they have to offer beyond just what they might be known for.
Because I noticed, like in Dayton and Cincinnati, that the lagers have resurfaced. You already seen that in your travels as well.
Beer flavored beer is making a comeback.
How you feel about that?
I love it. Now, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I probably would have been like, I don't need that stuff. Give me the IPAs, give me the stouts, give me whatever. As my palate has evolved, all those things still have a place, and I still love them. But if I find a good quality lager, a good Helles lager, for example, or a really, really good Pilsner, I will jump on those as soon as I can get them because I don't need 7, 8, 9, 10+% to enjoy a beer.
You won't survive the night that long.
Well, and as I told you, my recent brewery tour in Cincinnati, we didn't make it to all of our breweries. So
I mean, you did 9 out of 10. So
we did 9 out of 10, yes.
Because when you did your dating, did you make it to every one that night too?
We did not, only because the one brewery, and I can't remember which one it was across from the Dayton Dragons.
It probably just closed.
It just closed.
Yeah.
So we tried to get in there, but they wouldn't serve us anything, so we went on to the next one from there.
Yeah. It's a tough spot to go near a stadium, I feel like, because you got to really depend on foot traffic, and when you don't have home games, have other things down there to bring them to you.
But I will say, when we did the Dayton tour, there were a couple that, I mean, all of them were great, but there were a couple that like really stepped up. One that was phenomenal was Hairless Hair. Blew me away from the beer, the food. Their sours were amazing. We got to talk to the owner and the brewer and spend some time with him. That place was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's outstanding. Just blew my mind.
They've been really, they've always been solid ever since they used to be just a little hole-in-the-wall brewery, and eventually they expanded.
Yep.
Their food has also always been good too.
Their pizza and wings were the highlight of anything other than beer for the night. Those guys in Elmatic were both great, and they're not quite down in the mix of like downtown Dayton. They're a little bit outside of that, but well worth the stop. I was blown away by
they really have grown too.
Yeah.
And because I think Dayton's doing well. I mean,
I agree.
And so when you did your Cincinnati, you mentioned you went to Mount Carmel and stuff. What's some of your highlights?
So we've been doing this now for 10 or 11 years. And some breweries we go back to because we really like them, like Streetside. We probably hit Streetside 3 or 4 times out of 10 years that we've been down there. We really like that. But we wanted to add in some that we hadn't been to before. And Mount Carmel was one. Was really impressed with the facility. Mount Carmel is, I think, almost the OG craft brewery in Cincinnati. I mean, before Rheingeist and Mad Tree and all that, Mount Carmel had been there. I've never had the chance to go there until this time. And their facility was great. Their beer was solid. Their people were friendly. It was a really beautiful place to visit. And we also went to Happy 2, Wandering Monster, and Paradise, all for the first time. And each one of them impressed us in their own unique way. Paradise, little unassuming hole-in-the-wall place, but the people were incredible on the inside. The beer was just very, very tasty. And as I think I mentioned to you before we started recording, the end of the evening got rather fuzzy for me, as you might expect.
Especially if you went to Wandering Monster and Streetside.
Yeah. Well, and our approach is we get a flight of everything. So there are 3 of us that do this. We get a flight of everything. And we all share that flight.
Which is smart.
Streetside is 28 beers on tap. Our last one was 50 West, and I think there were 15 on tap there. I did the calculation, and the ounces worked out to about 15 1/3 pints per person. Over the course of 10 hours, but still, that's a lot. And it's a great time. We're looking forward to figure out where we want to go next year, what breweries we want to hit. There's still some in Cincinnati we haven't gone to.
Oh yeah.
Over on the west side, there are some that just based on where we stay and everything are a little bit less convenient to get to. But I want to try to build those in for future visits. But it was great. And again, Paradise blew me away late in the evening. Really, really great beer, great people. Just a kind of that old-fashioned brewery that you expect. Warm wood everywhere, people that, they know everybody. It's the Cheers feel without the Cheers size. It's just little intimate, homey, warm, great beer, great people. It was awesome.
Yeah. So when you started doing these trips, like your first year, how has that grown since your first one?
So it all started. My niece has spina bifida, and every year my family would do a fundraiser, big motorcycle ride fundraiser. And so I would go down. I don't ride, but I would go down, sing the national anthem, kick everybody off, and then as I was waiting for them to come back for the after ride party, it's like, no, let me go visit a brewery here and there. One year, a buddy of mine from up here came down and he rode, and he finished the ride, and we did, I don't know, four or five breweries. I think the first year was when Mike Slate was still down the road from Streetside, right before they closed, so it tells you how long we've been doing this. And then it got to the point where it's like the ride started interfering with that, so we would do it in a separate weekend, and another buddy from up here, the Drunken Thumb on Instagram, he joined us, and we just have been kind of going strong ever since then. And what started as hitting 3 or 4 through an afternoon has now been hit 9 or 10.
I don't think that's probably a good limit for you, but I don't think you can probably go over 10 good.
Not if you want to. You don't want to run in, taste a beer, and run out to the next place. You want to get the feel for them, try what they have, talk to them, to give everybody the ability to show off who they are. You want to give them the time to do that.
Because one thing I do a lot is the Highland Tap, which is nice, but you do a lot. You do a lot of that in and out. I mean, my mom and dad will do similar where we get one flight, we share it, and after a little bit we're gone. Trying to.
Fortunately, the app makes you wait at least 30 minutes between check-in.
Yeah, that's the downside. So. If it gave us, it would be easier. But especially you're like in Cleveland, we hit a lot in 4 days. I think we hit 30 in 4 days, which was a lot by the time we were done. Because even though while you're doing it, I know all beers don't taste the same, but they all start blending.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, maybe we should back off a little bit.
But part of it, we all are a little bit competitive by nature anyway, so you want to prove that you can still do it. As you get older, you want to prove that you can still hang with the young guys a little bit. So,
and you even think, because on the Ohio Tap it shows a map of everything in Cleveland, it still doesn't look like we put it in.
Yeah,
that's how crazy it is up there. So, okay. All right. So, anything else they need to know? You want people to know about kilt? Let's start there. How did you start wearing kilts? And
I have. So I'm a natural redhead, although right now I look blonde because as I've gotten older, my hair has gone white to, strawberry. But I've always been told growing up, oh, you're Irish, you're Irish, you're Irish. Always been intrigued by Celtic heritage and all that stuff. And when I was still living in North Carolina, I took my oldest son to a local Highland Games, and several of the clans that were there had information tents. And you go in and just find out about it. And with a clan is the primary family name of who is in charge, the clan chief and all that. But there are other families that are called septs, S-E-P-T, which are like subfamilies that are protected by the clan. And I found my family's name is a sept to Clan Gun. And I was like, oh, that's all the excuse I need. So I went out and bought a very inexpensive kilt. And I tried it on, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm loving this. Then I wore it to a beer fest in Greensboro where I lived. And anybody that knows me knows I'm a bit of an attention whore. And I got a lot of attention at this beer fest. And I was like, all right, done deal. And it's just kind of grown since then, and now I've gone from the very first kilt I had to I've got 44 of them, and I wear them almost all the time, and it's my drinking uniform. It's kind of how I'm known and who I'm known as. So thus it became the obvious kind of thing that sets me apart when I created the whole Instagram page. Yeah.
And also, how can people get a reach it to you if they want to check you out?
Absolutely. Instagram is at kilted_beer_reviews. The same on Twitter, Kilted Beer Reviews without the underscores. And I think I'm on Facebook the same way. It's attached to the Instagram account. But please reach out. If you want to come to Columbus and hang out with somebody up here and drink beer, let me know.
I tell you from experience, drinking with him, he is a lot of fun. I wish, if I know more in advance, I would have done all of those in Dayton or Cincinnati with
Absolutely.
you. But for some one time, we're going to do it together.
Yeah, without a doubt.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and
Thank you so much.
I just thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, cheers.
Take care.